You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
To need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will. Anyone.
You know, when you think about the estates of really successful people, rock legends, movie stars, titans of industry, you probably imagine these meticulously planned affairs, right? Every penny accounted for.
Mm-hmm. That's the image.
But the surprising truth is, it's often, a tangled mess.
A
heartbreaking legal battlefield sometimes.
It really can be.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the estate of a true American icon, Tom Petty, and exploring how his passing became, honestly, a masterclass in exactly what not to do, especially when managing a blended family and a really valuable legacy.
That's right. And look, while we're talking about a rock icon here, a estate worth hundreds of millions,
right,
this deep dive isn't just about celebrity drama. Not at all.
Right.
We're using the Tom Petty estate as a profoundly important cautionary tale. It reveals crucial, absolutely crisis-ready insights into estate planning that apply to everyone. Doesn't matter how much wealth you have. The goal is pretty simple. Help you avoid those awful family feuds and, make sure your wishes are genuinely carried out. Preserve not just your assets, but maybe more importantly, your relationships.
Okay, so our mission today is clear then.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack the key issues, the things that really led to Tom Petty's estate problems.
Yep.
We'll give you actionable steps to prevent similar issues in your own life and then guide you through building what we're calling a peace of mind estate planning system.
Mm-hmm. A practical system.
Yeah. And we'll even introduce practical tools like digital forms, checklists, things that make it all seem, surprisingly manageable. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So Tom Petty's story. It starts in Gainesville, Florida, a place he famously couldn't wait to leave.
Right.
His life really changed age 10. He met Elvis Presley on a movie set. He actually described it like seeing an angel.
Wow.
Then he heard the Beatles. And, as he put it, those angels started singing with guitars. Petty was hooked.
That was it for him.
Yeah. He spent the rest of his life crafting these songs that just became anthems for generations, Free Fallin', I Won't Back Down, American Girl. Tunes that just felt like they were written just for you. Iconic frontman Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Truly iconic. And his personal life, he was married twice. First marriage to Jane Benyo. They had 2 daughters, Adria and Anakim.
Right.
Later, he married Dana York. And she also played a really significant role, actually, in managing his later career.
Okay.
So it was a classic blended family situation, you see, but with a pretty unique twist. This immense, globally recognized artistic legacy and, a vast fortune at stake.
Then tragically, October 2nd, 2017, just a week after wrapping up a major tour, Tom Petty died. Accidental overdose with prescription medications.
That's a shock.
Yeah, the world mourned, of course. But almost immediately after his death, what followed was this bitter, very public estate dispute. Made headlines, stunned fans. You'd think someone of his stature, everything would be perfectly in order, wouldn't you?
You would absolutely think that. And what's truly astonishing here, really remarkable, is that Tom Petty did have a trust.
He did, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't like Prince or Jimi Hendrix or Amy Winehouse. They famously died without a will at all.
Right, intestate.
Exactly. The core issue here wasn't a missing document. It was a single, fatally vague phrase within that trust. Equal participation.
Equal participation, what did that mean?
Well, that phrase applied to his widow, Dana, and his 2 daughters, Adria and Anakim, regarding the management of his huge music catalog and brand.
Oh.
So imagine a band with 3 lead singers, right? And no one assigned to write the set list.
Okay, I see the problem.
Or like a group project where nobody's the designated leader. This seemingly fair language, equal participation, it created the perfect breeding ground for intense conflict, just total ambiguity.
And the consequences were pretty dramatic. Unfolded quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Dana wanted to release a box set unreleased material. The daughters objected.
Right. Different visions, maybe different motivations.
Led to lawsuits flying back and forth, accusations,
Yeah.
a full-blown public spectacle.
Yeah.
It ended up not only kind of tarnishing Petty's legacy, but costing the estate millions. Millions in legal fees.
Million. It's a vivid illustration, isn't it? How even immense wealth doesn't guarantee harmony after loss. If anything, it can magnify the problems.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a celebrity issue, though. That's really important to stress. While we hear about the chaos around celebrity estates all the time.
Like James Gandolfini. Huge tax bill.
Exactly. Poor planning hit his estate hard with taxes. Or Aretha Franklin. Her family arguing over conflicting handwritten wills, one found under a sofa cushion.
Under a cushion. You're kidding.
Not kidding, but the underlying problems are universal. Look at the stats. Only about 40% of Americans have a will. About 48% of Canadians.
Wow, that low.
Yeah. And the main reason, people just say they haven't gotten around to it.
Life gets busy.
It does. And even for those who do have a will, it's often out of date.
Yeah.
Like 90% of affluent Canadians over 50 have a will, sure, but only 69% say it's current.
That's a big gap.
Huge gap. Tom Petty's situation proves it, right? Even with immense wealth, even with some planning, an out-of-date or vague plan, it can lead to disaster for any family, not just the rich and famous.
Okay, so we've seen the free-fallen problem, as it were, in action. Let's turn Tom Petty's unfortunate experience into, well, practical guidance for everyone listening.
Let's do that.
We've distilled his mistakes into a kind of checklist, crucial steps that can help you avoid the petty problem in your own life.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating here is how each of Petty's missteps points directly to a clear solution for anyone. Doesn't matter about your personal wealth.
Okay.
First, let's look at that equal participation blunder again, the insight. Fairness isn't always clarity, especially when emotions are running high.
Right, what sounds fair.
Exactly. What sounds equitable on paper, everyone gets an equal say, can become a complete battleground in practice. The deep dive here is that you need to be, frankly, uncomfortably specific. Who holds the pen? Who casts the deciding vote? Who has veto power?
So really define the roles.
Precisely. Maybe it means naming one specific person, like maybe Dana should have been sole trustee, with an advisory role for the daughters. Or create a structured board with clear tie-breaking rules.
Yeah.
Specify, does this need a unanimous vote or just a majority? This isn't really about trust, fundamentally. It's about eliminating ambiguity to protect those family relationships.
So it's less about whether you trust your family and more about protecting them from the sheer stress of making these huge decisions under pressure. How can, say, a professional trustee actually help with that, remove the burden?
Exactly. That leads right into the second point. Appoint a professional trustee or mediator. Petty put his wife and daughters, who, let's face it, carried significant emotional baggage and history, in charge of his creative legacy. A neutral third party, like a professional trustee, maybe a respected lawyer, a legacy manager, they act as a referee. They have no emotional ties, just a fiduciary duty to act in the estate's best interest. This can help bypass those very emotional, sometimes, let's say, irrational decisions that families can make when they're grieving or dealing with old sibling rivalries.
Makes sense. What's next?
Third, update your estate plan regularly. This is huge. Petty's trust didn't evolve with his life, with his blended family dynamics. An estate plan isn't a set it and forget it thing.
Right.
It's a living document. It needs review after major life events, marriage, divorce, new children, big acquisitions. Think about Heath Ledger, Michael Crichton. Their estates faced serious problems because their wills weren't updated after big life changes.
So how often is regularly?
Good question. For most people, a review every 3 to 5 years is a decent rule of thumb. Or definitely after any significant life event happens.
And what about actually telling your family what you want? Petty might have just assumed they'd all get along, but
Yeah.
we saw how that went. How do you even start that conversation without making it super awkward or, confrontational?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, but it brings us to the fourth lesson. Hold a family meeting. Seriously. When it comes to money and legacy, even the closest families can sometimes turn into, well, the cast of a reality show. It's critically important to communicate your intentions. Explain the why behind your decisions. A simple letter of intent, maybe even a video recording, that can add a personal touch that prevents misunderstandings down the line. It's about creating transparency and managing expectations while you're still here to explain yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. What else?
Fifth, include conflict resolution clauses. Petty's plan lacked a clear way to handle disputes. That led directly to those public, expensive court battles.
Right.
Mandating mediation or arbitration for any disagreements within the trust. That could have kept everything out of the public eye, saved the estate millions in legal fees. It's like building an escape hatch into the plan right from the start. A pre-planned path for resolution instead of just escalation.
So it's basically pre-planning the fight, in a way, to make sure it doesn't blow up publicly.
Exactly. Sixth point, separate personal and business roles. Petty kind of blurred the lines between family and business. That led to clashes over control of his music.
Big time.
You really need to clearly define who inherits what personally versus what role, if any, heirs might play in the business, especially crucial for artists or anyone with valuable intellectual property like music rights. It's about financial control, sure, but also creative control, artistic integrity.
Okay. And the last point.
And finally, seventh, use a detailed trust document. Petty's trust, okay, it was legally valid, but it just wasn't detailed enough, especially for something as complex and valuable as his intellectual property.
It was a start, but not enough.
Exactly. A good start, but missing the crucial specifics. A truly detailed document should specify exactly how assets are managed, under what conditions, by whom. The cost of a vague trust. It's not just the legal fees, it's the emotional toll, the potential damage to a legacy. These 7 points, if you follow them, can really help avoid a petty problem.
That's a really powerful checklist, turning those potential disasters into clear actions. Okay, so we've walked through the pitfalls, the critical don'ts from Tom Petty's story. But what if we flip that? Let's build something from the ground up, not just avoiding mistakes, but creating real peace of mind.
Right.
That's where this idea of your peace of mind binder comes in. Think of it like a comprehensive, one-stop shop for everything your family will need during a really difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news, as we mentioned, is that incorporating things like digital forms, checklists, it actually turns what feels like a daunting task into a surprisingly manageable project.
That's absolutely right. This peace of mind binder, it's designed for everyone. Traditional families, blended families, everyone. Let's walk through the 5 essential sections to make your estate truly crisis ready.
Okay, section 1.
First, section 1, the personal and family info. This is the who's who of your life. The basic stuff, but often overlooked details. Full name, date of birth, social security number, any former names. Family info, full names, dates of birth for your spouse, kids, any dependents. And crucially, clearly identify relationships, especially for blended families. It sounds small, but it avoids confusion.
Good point.
Also include key contacts, lawyer, financial planner, accountant, and even pet information, vet's contact, care instructions. It's about providing clarity when things are already chaotic.
Okay, section 2, the heavy hitters.
Right. Section 2, the core legal documents. This is the foundation, stuff drafted by a qualified attorney. Your last will and testament, obviously. Who inherits assets, guardian for minor kids. For blended families, this is where you can be super explicit. Use things like mutual wills to prevent, say, a surviving spouse accidentally disinheriting your kids from a previous marriage.
Okay.
Then there's the revocable living trust. Especially useful if you have significant assets. It avoids probate, provides privacy, gives precise control over how assets are distributed.
Yeah.
Vital for blended families, you can provide for a spouse while guaranteeing assets eventually go to your kids.
And powers of attorney.
Yes. Powers of attorney. POA. Financial POA who manages your finances if you're incapacitated, and the healthcare POA or advanced healthcare directive who makes medical decisions, including your end-of-life care preferences, your living will wishes. These are your immediate crisis tools. They prevent messy guardianship proceedings, make sure your voice is heard even if you can't speak.
I can absolutely see how just having those organized would save so much stress. Okay, what about the financial side? That's where families often clash, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the maybe less obvious but critical things people miss there?
Great question. That takes us to section 3, the financial inventory. This is designed to prevent those family feuds that often erupt because nobody knows what you have or where it is.
The scavenger hunt.
Exactly. Avoid the scavenger hunt. So yes, list all bank investment accounts, institutions, account numbers where statements are located. But crucially, also list all retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, pensions. And here's a key point. Emphasize updating beneficiary designations.
Why is that so important?
Because beneficiary designations on things like IRAs and life insurance typically override your will. So if you've remarried or you want to ensure specific kids get a direct share, updating those forms is as critical as updating your will itself.
Got it.
Include all insurance policies, life, health, auto, property with policy numbers, provider contacts. For real estate, have the deeds, mortgage documents for all properties. And here's where it gets interesting, connecting back to Petty. personal property.
Right, not just the big stuff.
Not just the big stuff. Petty's case involved a valuable music catalog, sure, but often it's the old photo album, the family recipes, maybe even the living room couch that sparks the biggest family fight.
So true.
A simple, separate letter of instruction explaining who gets what sentimental item and why can prevent so much drama. And of course, don't forget your liabilities, list all your debts, mortgages, credit cards, loans, get the full picture.
That's fascinating, thinking of digital assets right alongside traditional documents. For a lot of listeners, this might be totally new territory.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake people make when it comes to their online footprint in estate planning?
Yeah, it's a huge blind spot for many. That falls under Section 4. The instructions and wishes. This is where you add your personal touch beyond the legal jargon.
Okay.
A letter of intent is technically non-binding, but it's powerful. Explain your decisions, express love, provide instructions not covered in the will, like distributing those personal effects we just talked about. Include your funeral and burial wishes clearly. Don't just put them in the will, it might be read too late. Imagine the relief for your family in that awful moment of grief to just open this binder and see, here's exactly what they wanted. Takes the guesswork out. And yes, your online accounts or digital assets inventory. Include access details or closure instructions. The biggest mistake. Not accounting for them at all. We recommend using a password manager for security, but also leaving clear instructions on how you want your digital legacy handled. Social media, email, online banking. Everything. And finally, just a simple list of important documents and their locations. Birth certificate, marriage license, military papers, car titles, etc.
Wow, it's incredibly comprehensive. It really covers not just money, but personal wishes, relationships.
No.
Okay, so finally, for families with those more complex structures, how does this binder specifically tackle the unique needs of blended families?
That's exactly why we have Section 5, the Brady Bunch blended family section. Crucial for anyone in a second marriage or with a blended family.
Right.
Include any prenuptial or postnuptial agreements. These are your no surprises tools. They clarify financial expectations right from the start.
Good idea.
A spousal trust is a really powerful strategy here. It ensures your surviving spouse is financially cared for, but it also guarantees that any remaining assets eventually pass to your children from a first marriage. Prevents the whole estate being spent down by the surviving spouse, essentially.
Okay, locks in the kid's inheritance.
Exactly. Also, consider special beneficiary designations. We talked about this, but naming kids from a previous marriage directly on assets like life insurance policies means they get that money directly outside the will process. Ensures they receive their intended share.
Makes sense.
Clearly define separate versus joint accounts to prevent confusion about what's yours, mine, and ours. And again, specifically for instructions for family mementos. As Tom Petty's case tragically showed, sentimental items can cause immense strife. Be explicit. State who gets which heirlooms and why. Avoid ambiguity at all costs.
Wow, that is a truly comprehensive system. It really hammers home the idea that using those digital forms, checklists, it turns this huge, daunting task into something you can actually tackle, step by step. It ensures you're ready for, well, anything really, a natural disaster, a health crisis, an unexpected event. And it definitely avoids those stressful scavenger hunts for critical documents right when your family is already dealing with chaos and grief.
Precisely.
So I guess the core takeaway from our deep dive today is pretty clear. Proactive, specific estate planning. It isn't just for the wealthy or the famous, not at all.
Not even close.
It's essential for anyone who wants their wishes carried out properly and their loved ones taken care of, and crucially for preventing those potential free-fallen family feuds.
Absolutely. You know, the profound impact of a well-planned estate. It really does offer ultimate peace of mind, not just for you right now, but for your loved ones later.
Yeah.
It preserves not just assets, but also those invaluable relationships and your legacy, whatever that means to you. Knowing exactly what you own and clearly communicating your wishes, that can save your family a world of headaches, massive legal fees, and just so much unnecessary drama after you're gone.
So as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. What is one small, specific step you can take today, right now, to move your own peace of mind binder from just good intentions toward being truly crisis ready? What's one thing you can do to ensure your legacy is a harmonious note, not a illegal punk rock show?
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.